Okay, on this one, if you put in number 19 into the calculator, the only zero you get out is a 2. And so we're going to divide 2 into it, and hopefully that'll help. We prefer more than that. Bring the 4 down. 2 times 4 is 8. Combine these two, and you end up with negative 3. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. 22 minus 6 is 16. 2 times 16 is 32. Negative 44 minus 32 is negative 12. 2 times negative 12 is negative 24. You combine these to get 0. So 2 worked, 0 is your remainder, and you ended up with 4x to the third minus 3x squared plus 16x minus 12. None of these factor that as far as we can tell, so there's 4 terms. So it's set up for factoring by grouping, so we're going to group the first 2 and last 2. An x squared is the only thing that factors out of the first set of parentheses, and so you're left with 4x minus 3. If this is factored correctly, this will factor to be a 4x minus 3 as well. And negative 12 divided by negative 3 is positive 4. And so it worked because it factored perfectly. What's there twice? Oops, made a mistake. What's there twice is 4x minus 3. And x squared plus 4 is left over. And that's factored completely. The first term, you have opposite of negative 3 is positive 3 divided by 4. That's a 0. But this one, x squared plus 4 equals to 0. You subtract 4 from both sides. And you have x squared equals negative 4. Take the square root of both sides. And when you take the square root of a negative, it becomes an imaginary number. Square root of 4 is 2. So you have 2i and negative 2i. So we have these 2 zeros, 3/4 is a 0, and 2 is a 0. So we found 4 zeros, and we were looking for 4. So we did it. Okay, on number 20, if you put that into y equals, your zeros are negative 1 and 3. So we're going to do the synthetic division to get negative 1 and 3 out. Bring the 1 down. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Combine 2 minus 1 is 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Combine these and you get 1. Negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. Combine these and you get negative 39. Negative 1 times 39 is positive 39, and you combine these to get 0. And so if your remainder is 0, negative 1 is a 0. Now we're going to divide 3 into it. 3 goes, you bring the 1 down first. 3 times 1 is 3. Combine these to get 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Combine these to get 13. 3 times 13 is 39. Combine these to get 0. If your remainder is 0, you're left with this last factor. And so you have x squared plus 4x plus 13. And there aren't any factors of 13 that add up to be 4, so we have to use the quadratic formula. A is 1, B is 4, and C is 13. And the quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 16, minus 4 times 1 times c. All of that's over 2a, which is 2. Okay, 16 minus 52 is negative 36, so that's negative 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 36 all over 2. Well, that negative is written on the outside as an I, but the square root of 36 is 6. So that's negative 4 plus or minus 6i all over 2. And when all of these numbers are divisible by the same thing, oops, I didn't mean to write that. and all of those are divisible by the same thing, you can reduce them. And so this would be, and I'm dividing negative 4, 6, and 2 by 2. So that's negative 2 plus or minus 3i. That's two different terms. It's negative 2 plus 3i and negative 2 minus 3i. Let's see, 3 is an answer and negative 1 is an answer. And so we found all four zeros, and we were looking for 4.